Hello and welcome to Between the Frames. I can't believe I almost messed that up. Today we're talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny because Rob decided that that was very important that we watch that movie. So Rob, talk about this movie.
Yeah, what a piece of shit. Am I right or am I wrong?
I guess what, honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Frankly, I thought it was going to be way worse, but it wasn't good.
Yeah, in my opinion, every aspect of the movie had missteps. So I'm excited to chat about it
Yeah,
with you.
I mean, I don't know if you agreed, but it's like if you made Indiana Jones, but without any of the charm. Like on a checklist perspective, it has all the things that an Indiana Jones movie has, but
Mhm.
all of it sucks. So
Well, it's
that's like how I
reverse.
would describe it.
Instead of a classic Indiana Jones moment being earned, it feels very reverse engineered.
I agree with you on that. An example of that, did you feel like the action scenes were really long? All of them are so bloated. You could chop 25 minutes out of this movie in just action.
Not just bloated, but the blocking was terrible, and you couldn't tell really what was going on in the scene, where the characters are in position of the set. And also, you're seeing Indiana Jones jumping from car to car and doing backflips and cartwheels, and you're just like, this is not. This is fake, and that kind of
I
takes you out
know.
of it as well.
But
So
de-aging is so uncomfortable for
I'm
me.
not even
I
talking
think
about
it's
the
really funny.
I'm not even
Uh,
talking about the young scene. There's that scene in Africa where he jumps from like one car to another and he's 80 and you're just like, what
yeah,
is
I
going
know.
on here?
It's really funny that they keep making Indiana Jones movies, even though I hope this movie makes $1 billion. I literally want them to make a next one where Harrison Ford is dead and the start of the next one is them digging up his dead body. And the next one to resurrect him for another adventure.
They keep saying that this is the last Indiana Jones film. They're never going to reboot it. As soon as he dies, there will be one announced within 6 months.
I mean, they're setting
Mm-hmm.
up the next female Indy. I mean, that's like basically what she is. This is the goddaughter, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's like when in the last movie, though, they set it up for, they had Mutt. Remember Mutt?
Yeah, yeah. But
And you're
Rob, if
like,
Mutt isn't good, they just kill him. They'll just kill
well,
her again and do it again.
that's what I don't think people responded to her character well. At least I did not. I
She's
I,
not
I
that
liked
bad.
I liked Phoebe. Well, we'll get into it. Let's start with the writing on this film. I think
Okay.
that's important. So
It's weird. A lot of movies I see don't have enough plot. They're just stretching between plot points. But this has too much plot. They're going to 50 different locations and there's way too many characters. And they just keep meeting people they know. And everyone's relationships are a little weirdly complex. And people faking to be other people and old friends of Indy's and Indy's goddaughter whose father went crazy. It's like way too much plot. This is an Indiana Jones movie. It should be a very simple thing that they have made unnecessarily complicated. It doesn't even add anything. They don't even do anything with the
yeah.
complexity. It just sucks.
Also, I didn't even think Indiana Jones was written well, if I'm going to be honest. I mean,
No. Yeah, he's not.
well, first off, what is the obsession with having like, a beloved character and we're reuniting with him as an old man and he's just miserable? My
Yeah.
first scene of with Indiana Jones, I didn't want to see him being like a boomer in a small apartment yelling at teenagers and drinking, being an alcoholic, liquor in his coffee. I was like, why? Even
Well, you
I
have to do
mean,
that, Rob, because he's 80. He can't do that much action.
sure, but
That's why.
well, I feel like the emotional core of the movie is his son is dead, right?
Yeah.
They should have played into that way more. I'm talking military funeral. Marion should have been a way bigger character in this film. See what they're trying to do, and they're like Indiana Jones is
Yeah.
in this bad place, but by the end of the movie, he has people in his life that care for
Yeah,
him.
I agree, but the thing is I don't even think they wanted to. They didn't have Shia LaBeouf because he didn't want to do it, and I guess they don't want him, and he was bad, and so they just kill him off screen. And
I
then they're
think
like, "All right, well, he's dead, and he was his son last movie, so I guess we have to do something with this. I guess he's depressed about it, and we'll just have him have a new kid." And then they do nothing with this character the entire way. And then at the end, when he would make a decision, he just gets knocked out. It literally
yeah.
be like if Frodo passed out and then the ring fell into the fire, which is kind of true. I mean, it kind of is what happens in the movie anyway, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean, I thought Mutt dying in Vietnam was good, and I thought that could happen off screen. It's just that's the I mean,
No,
that's just the
I don't think it
core of
should
the
happen off
movie.
screen.
Well, they can't have him back for
Yeah, no, I agree. I
reasons.
mean, I think I don't think I need to see him bleed out in Vietnam. I think I need to see him like I don't need that. I'm just talking about a scene where Mutt's like, I'm gonna go to Vietnam, and Indy's like, this is a good idea, and the mom, Marion, is like, this is a bad
I know.
idea, and then cut to the funeral, and then now they're mad at each anything.
Yes,
They
yes.
don't
That's what
show any of it. They just tell it to you.
they have that scene, right, where he's describing what happened. They should have just shown. Mutt could have been literally off screen, off the camera, and they could have like, you know what I'm saying? They could have had like a voice actor
No,
impersonate him.
Rob, we could
What?
just CGI him.
You still have to pay
Oh,
him.
oh, I guess you're
Yeah,
right.
that's like a
Yeah.
real thing. I just think, okay, that's the emotional core of the movie. One of the best parts of the original film is his relationship with Marion. So it's like, okay, if the core of the movie, and if then like the ending of the movie where he has his reconciliation with Marion does not feel earned at all. It just feels like they quickly rewrote the ending to put her in it because I mean she should have been in the throughout the film so that reconciliation makes more sense. You know what I'm saying?
Or yeah, he should have mentioned her or thought about her or spoke about her at all. like,
No,
like
she should have been in the movie. It should have been they slowly realize they still have each other kind of thing. That should have been the emotional core of the movie. Like,
yeah. I mean,
and
how
then
old
they
is
have
she?
their
She's old too, right?
she's old too, but they have a series of characters that Indy can lean on. They brought back Sala. I want to point out that scene with Sala was weird because Sala lives in New York, but there's a scene where he's like, "Hello, grandchildren. This is Indiana Jones. He helped us move to America." Indy's never lives also lives in New York and has never been over to Sala's house. This is very
No, he
strange.
didn't give
It
a
was
fuck. As soon as Salah got in the country, he stopped talking to him.
I know. It was just really, what is this writing? They should be like old time buddies.
Yeah, okay.
Eh,
This is a thing I wanted to comment on.
go for it.
Okay, because I think you're talking about it, and I'm gonna try and articulate it, but it's this weird meta aspect to the movies, which is that like you said, in universe, it makes no sense why him and Salah wouldn't have seen each other, but in the context of the films, he hasn't been in them, right? So this is the
Mhm.
first time you see. So that's like the entire movie to me. So much of the movie only makes sense in a way that's aware of itself. I don't know if you see what I'm saying, but that's like a huge problem to me.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. There's just reverse engineering and like trying to make things fit to make like a good final entry. You go into this movie feeling like there's no reason for this film to exist. And then you exit this film
Yeah.
thinking there really was no reason for this film to exist. You're
And the
like,
movie is a commentary on itself. They're doing the same thing. Nothing has
yes.
progressed.
I agree completely. So we've already had a movie with a senior Jones, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And in
Mhm.
that movie, Sean Connery's character is acting very senior. He's not noticing things and accidentally blowing things up.
Yeah.
He's having many senior moments. So now we're getting to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And Harrison Ford is older than Sean Connery was in The Last Crusade by a significant margin. Okay, so portray Indy as old, like your son dying in Vietnam.
Sorry, I laugh every time you say his son died in Vietnam. I can't believe they did that.
I honestly, okay, that's the emotional core of the movie. This is what the whole film should be centered around. Then the dial of destiny. Oh, we can go back in time.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
we haven't even
maybe.
talked about that.
Yeah, I know. The whole
There's
thing
time
is
travel.
the whole thing is you can use the dial of destiny to go back in time and change the events. So why in the world, why like you don't have Marion trying to go after the dial herself, try to bring her son back when the emotional core is his son is
Oh
dead?
yeah.
It just blew my, I was like, why? Why didn't they write this?
Yeah, and the thing is, it all boils down to the fact that they don't have access to Shia LaBeouf, so they can't do any of the scenes that you would need to do this plot. You
No,
go
no,
back in
they
time, he doesn't have a scene with his son before going to Vietnam or anything.
no, you don't have to go back in time though. You just have to have that be the central premise, and then the
Oh
Nazis
no.
offer, give us the dial, and we'll get your son back. And then Harrison Ford goes, "My son is dead," and so is Hitler, and then shoots Hitler. I don't know. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
you
it's not
understand,
that.
Rob. They planned out this entire film franchise, and they always knew the end game was time travel. Okay, time travel was in the cards from Raiders. Okay, they knew it.
Well, that's the other thing. I hated the fact that you actually saw the time travel. I did not like that at all.
I don't
Like,
know. It's kind of it's so stupid by the end. It's kind of fun.
I don't know,
It's
Raiders,
stupid.
okay, the ark kills people, and then you get to the Last Crusade, and the plot is you drink the blood of Jesus water, and then you maintain wounds heal, and you have life. Then the fifth one is just we go back to 300 BC. It's such a shocking
Right.
change.
I don't know why they go back to ancient Greece. They should have gone to Vietnam or some time relevant. Dude, the main guy's plan is to kill Hitler and replace him, and then this time not invade Russia during the winter. I guess that's his huge. He's gonna win this time. That's an insane plan.
I will say, with the main character, I did like the fact that they made him a NASA scientist. I thought that was pretty fun.
But he says Nazi still.
That's just US history, that right there,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I guess that's
So,
true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
which is why I liked it. But yeah, it's just all the motivations were just weird and it's just
Yeah, I mean,
too
forgetting
over.
we're getting bogged down because the plot is so shit. I think the bigger problem of the movie is in execution. Don't you feel like everything looks too clean and there's a lot of CGI and not a ton of practical things, and as a result, there's not a ton of creativity or grit. I mean, even if you watch the Last Crusade, Indiana Jones, when he's trying to climb on a tank or he's in a fight, it feels so difficult, and this is so clean. I think
Yeah,
that's where the movie goes away. You know, it'd be like a Mission Impossible without good stunts, basically.
in the earlier film, they are sweating and they're dirty, and every fight just takes something out of them. Every punch, they're using all their energy because they don't know what's next.
Yeah.
And this film, it's suddenly this 80-year-old is jumping from car to car, and he hasn't broken a sweat. He's shooting people. It's like climbing a cliff.
Yeah, I can't
Uh,
even do that now, and I'm 20.
I
I
know.
can't even do that.
I get Harrison Ford is in good shape or whatever, but that doesn't mean the character isn't as good of a shape as he is. I
Yeah,
don't
well, he's
know.
supposed to be a depressed drunk, right?
Yeah, and suddenly he's
Yeah.
just as athletic and agile as he was 30 years ago.
Honestly, now that we talk about this, it makes complete sense that they just shouldn't have made this movie. They don't have Shia LaBeouf. Harrison Ford's too old. All the factors lead to don't spend 400 million. This movie costs $400 million. It's an Indiana Jones movie. It's not like you're starting a factory company or something. I don't understand how it's so expensive.
I was shocked by that price tag as well, just because I think they made the original one the equivalent of 30 million today dollars. And I know Harrison Ford probably paid that his salary is probably 50 million just to do it alone. But it was just really shocking to see that budget. I think you can do, I want to say, I think you can do an old Indiana Jones movie. You just gotta treat the character as he's older. You can't do some of the things he used to do. You see what I'm saying? Like I sound like an
Yeah.
AARP commercial. Like old
Yeah,
people
but
still
I
have
don't agree
value.
though. I don't agree though. Like I guess I agree that you could do it, but I disagree. It's not Indiana Jones isn't like a he's not like an in-depth character. He's the same character in all three movies. He's a leading action man. He's a good one. So you just don't
Yeah.
need to do like any character thing with him. It's
Well,
fine.
and I would have thought that in like a movie, older Indiana Jones movie, you have Helena
Yes.
and like Short Round kind of picking up some of the more actiony scenes. This is just my take on it. You have Indy doing stuff, but it's not shooting people. And like, well, I mean, he could even shoot people. He's just not jumping off the roof and riding a horse through the subway. Like, what? You're telling
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. Yeah.
this whole scene just completely, that whole scene just completely fell apart because you're again like, this I wouldn't find believable if it was 20-year-old Indiana Jones, but you're telling me 80-year-old Indiana Jones has just such command of a NYPD horse. He can ride it in a subway straight on at the train, and the
Yeah.
horse does nothing to stop him, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just a miss. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next one where the little Indian kid died in Vietnam. I hope he died in Vietnam Part 2. Or the Korean kid from Temple of Doom died in the Korean War, and Indiana Jones is upset about that. And, we'll just get him next time. It's not a big deal, bro. Just do it
The
again.
next movie takes place when Indiana Jones or when Harrison Ford's 100 and it's the Gulf War.
Yeah, Afghanistan. Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, all the antiquities are being bombed. Oh God, this is
Yeah,
horrible.
he actually finds weapons of mass destruction this time. He finds them. They were hidden and proves that Bush was right. And it's a huge hit. It's
uh,
a huge hit. Sells out box office everywhere. You know, and
the,
Harrison Ford's
the
not even, he's dead. They'll CGI
the
him.
the villain Saddam Hussein.
Indy's just a huge supporter of the Bush administration. Um, as he would be. You
If
know,
he
his
if
son died
he
in Vietnam, so he's pro Afghanistan war,
I
obviously.
guess I guess Indiana Jones, I believe, was born in 1901. So one of his birthdays, he celebrates his 100th birthday. It's 9/11.
Why, yeah,
Oh
why don't we
God.
do that?
Come
That's
on,
a good
Shane.
set piece for 100-year-old Harrison Ford to stop 9/11. He'll catch the plane.
They already made a plane where Air Force One, where he essentially stops 9/11. So
That's a good movie too. That was a good era. There's a lot of plane movies at that time.
I rewatched Raiders and then I also rewatched Patriot Games. My God, how far action movies and spy thrillers have fallen in general since that era.
Oh, you read this screenplay for Raiders you mentioned. Do you want to touch on that? Is that what
Oh
you're talking about?
yeah, I read for context the Raiders of the Lost Ark screenplay, and I just got to say I think thing with these movies are Spielberg took okay screenplays and he just elevated the absolute shit out of them. Here's a good example.
Mhm.
So in the movie, Marion has the medallion, but in the original screenplay, Indiana Jones has to steal it from a fat Asian savage called the Wild Boar. This is what the screenplay says, not me.
Okay, okay.
And he's fighting
Fat Asian
samurais and
savage.
yeah, it's like he's and his name's the
Okay.
Wild Boar. Also, Marion in the screenplay just has no character personality at all. Like a lot of the scenes you from the original movie that you associate it with it being such a great film are just completely absent in that original screenplay. There's an iconic scene where the medallion, they're like, how did the Nazis know have like the medallion? And you see it's imprinted in the burned hand of the Nazi. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Mhm.
Yeah. And in the screenplay, it's just the wild boar made copies. It's like, what? This is terrible. Even though in this original screenplay, the guy still burns his hand on the medallion. Small things like that, that there's like tonally weird parts constantly throughout the screenplay. The ending of the movie doesn't end with the arc. The whole arc scene happens and then Indiana Jones has to escape, which is a much weaker ending in my opinion. Sprayer's a lost arc, not the arc and then escape from the Nazis, right? So a lot of
Yeah.
scenes in the original screenplay that just aren't needed. And then Marion doesn't have any self-agency in the original screenplay. And I think that's one of the reasons why people like her so much. Her self-agency is what makes her a good match for Indy, but that's just not absent at all of the original screenplay. So
Yeah, she's the best indie girl by far, which is why they keep bringing her back. But dude, I don't know why they made this movie. At the end of Crystal Skull, it was bad, but it was also over, and now they
yeah,
did it again. Do you
they
think they'll do it again? This is bombing. I really hope they do. I
this
hope they
is
do Indy 6.
there's no way this is done.
Dude,
This
it's like
movie
Star Wars, too big to fail.
But here's the thing, it is failing. And
Is
Star
it?
Wars did, yes, it's like bombing at the box
No, but
office.
I thought Crystal Skull made a lot of money, right? And then
Yeah.
this one's bombing. No, Star Wars has had bombs. Solo bombed. That
Well,
was a bad
Solo
bomb, right?
bombed, but the Rise of Skywalker bombed so hard that they just aren't making any more. They haven't made any movies in like 4 years. They're
Did The
doing
Rise
TV
of
shows.
Skywalker bomb?
Yeah.
I mean,
Costs
it was a
like
bad movie, but I'm talking about financially. I mean, anyway, I just hope they CGI him till he's dead. I literally hope I'm 60 years old and if Ford has been dead for 35 years and they're still making them. It's gonna happen with Star Wars. We're gonna have grandchildren and we're gonna have Star Wars movies coming out.
well, I think Star Wars is one of those things. It's like a world. Once you have a world like that, it just continue.
Yeah, I'm
Audiences
surprised they didn't do a multiverse thing.
in
Indiana Jones
Star
multiverse, extended cinematic universe, Mutt returns.
Also, I just want to point out, so we haven't talked about it, but the cinematography in this movie is so muddy and unclear. There's way too much camera movement. It's shot like Transformers, and that's not like a good thing. have long shots that kind of show us where we are in the scene. Use a what like a range of like wide shots and then close up shots, so I know what's where the characters are and what where they're fighting, and show close up of objects they're going to grab to use as weapons. There's
Yeah, no, I mean basic stuff.
basic blocking.
But it can't be. The director has made real movies, so I refuse to believe that his fault. I got a feeling that there was no way this movie could have been good.
No, and I bet you too. They just were like, okay, we have to get this done, do it, and be done. This is an Indiana Jones movie. They could have hired an Oscar-winning cinematographer. The fact that the writing is as bad as it is just depressing.
Rob, would you recommend Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny for theater prices or at home for free?
Well, that's a great question. Okay, so we keep shitting on this movie, but if you just kind of want to see Indiana Jones for nostalgic purposes, it's still, I'd say, worth it to go. If you like have a deep love for Indy, go see this movie.
Okay,
If you want like a
don't see
good
this
cinema,
movie. Do not let this fucking company take advantage of the fact that you like these movies. Do not see this movie. Don't see it for free. Don't see it on streaming
don't
services.
see it for free.
Don't watch it. It's not worth it. You can read a book. You can read Crime and Punishment. It's a great book. Anything else, literally anything. Go for a walk for 2 hours. Exercise. Anything besides watching this movie. I cannot describe how much of a waste of time I thought this movie was.
It was a waste. That didn't add. It literally added nothing new to like the character of Indiana Jones, and that was its biggest crime, right?
Yeah,
I
I
feel like
know. If you're saying if you just like it, then like I guess there's that. But that's
no.
not a real. So you
If
know,
I'm not saying I like the movie, as someone
yeah,
that
yeah.
has always liked Indiana Jones, it's like, okay, that I got to see more of a character I really loved growing up.
Make it a bad thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
But
love the Indiana Jones movies, so don't see this. Just remember when it
yeah,
was good, and then just move on with your life.
yeah, every single Indiana Jones movie, kind of expanded upon Indy in ways both either good or bad. The first movie is the establishing of the character, but the third movie's got that father-son dynamic. The fourth movie's in the Cold War. The second movie is
Yeah,
dark and disturbing. What do you think of the
Jungle
second
Fever.
movie, Vasishta?
I don't like the second one. I've never
tell
liked the second one.
tell me why.
Well,
I
I know you're implying it's because of the racism, but that's actually not really why. I should be offended by the racism as an Indian person, but no, no, it's just like a dirty, sweaty, nasty movie, and it's dark.
yeah.
The first one and the third one is are better.
Here's a fun fact for you. I don't know if you know this. So George Lucas and Spielberg were both getting divorced when they made the Temple of
I
Doom.
that does come through the movie
And
quite a bit, I
then
think.
here's another fun fact. Spielberg then married the female character in that movie.
Oh, the blonde
So
woman.
the blonde woman, yeah.
Good for him. He was a pretty lady.
Yeah. And even
Um,
he realized that she should never come back to the Indiana Jones franchise.
she didn't like bugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Patricia gives it a 10 out of 10. I'm more mixed. 4 out of 10. If you like Indiana Jones, 5 out of 10. I would recommend seeing this at the most expensive theater in your city. Support Disney and Kathleen Kennedy's job. Thank you all.